Fred, you say, since we're talking geopolitics and the economy, the biggest economic threat to U.S. allies is not Russia or even China. It is U.S. debt default, if that becomes a real possibility. Now, is it the default itself that's the threat, or just playing with fire here and touching the stove?
Well, two things. First of all, in the War of 1812, when the British were losing the Battle of Lake Erie, which we all, of course, remember so well, the British commandant said to Major General William Henry Harrison, "We have met the enemy and they are us." And that must be the way President Biden is feeling right now in Japan, where this makes him not look like the leader that everyone wants to follow. And even if this debt ceiling issue gets solved, and it really is a bigger economic threat for this year than either Russia or China, even if it gets solved, what's lingering behind this is a reputation that the U.S. has gained over the last few years of being even more politically volatile, potentially economically unstable. And it's not just the debt ceiling. It also is our recent banking crisis. Well, it was the political violence and instability of January 6th.
Right. Well, Fred,
and also leading up to the 2024 elections.
I'm no political expert here, but isn't the most likely near-term outcome that the can gets kicked down the road a bit, right, as we approach the X date, that somehow they figure out this is taking us longer to figure out. We're going to do some sort of an extension thing. Neither one of us like it, but the uncertainty just gets extended. What does that do to the economy, to America's reputation, the ability to, move forward on these geopolitical issues?
So our allies believe that this will be solved, and I think markets by and large believe that as well. And so it isn't so much the medium long-term issue isn't that. It's what kind of cloud does this cast over us? The Chinese, of course, will use this as a demonstration to the people that surround them. You really can't trust the Americans. We don't know where things go. And don't forget, the part of the trip that was canceled, which you say, well, why is it such a big deal that the president can't go to Papua New Guinea? But it's a big deal because it was planned for months. Okay. No president has ever been to the Pacific Islands. They are strategically located, and China is investing heavily in them, including the potential of military presence.
Kayla, I wonder, can you tell us how the unusual structure of the House right now, as far as Republicans are concerned, plays into this? We heard from the Freedom Caucus earlier today saying, don't negotiate here. Speaker McCarthy is in an unusually tenuous position as a leader here, even if he can put together a coalition of some Republicans plus some Democrats. Couldn't that cost him his job?
Yes, possibly. I mean, he barely stitched together a vote for the bill that passed in late April, the Limit, Save, Grow bill that they're using as the starting point for these negotiations. But, John, even if he's able to get House support for whatever he negotiates with the White House, you still need 60 votes in the Senate, where Democrats have a slim majority there. So when I was referencing what this White House official told me earlier, which was sort of, it's okay if we lose the extremes of either party, because really the answer lies in the middle. You really need the moderate wings of the Republican Party and the moderate wings of the Democratic Party to sign on to whatever is negotiated. So, yes, it's okay if the Freedom Caucus wants to make noise on the side and say, we don't like the direction that negotiations are going in, and you have a handful of more than a dozen Senate Democrats saying we think that you have to raise taxes and use the 14th Amendment to continue issuing debt if we have to. But that's just noise at this point, because I think the White House knows that it has to broker a deal that has both sides here. And so, I think one thing that you can read from what's happening right now is these are politicians who are speaking to their base, showing that they are holding their line and holding their positions, even if the eventual outcome is still different.
Fred, in an ordinary session of Congress, I would find that reassuring, right, because the Speaker's position would be relatively safe. But if Speaker McCarthy does this moderates from both parties thing, he is vulnerable from any individual members of the right wing who say, hey, we don't like the way you're leading things, right? I mean, this seems to be maximum possibility of not coming to a compromise right now.